broken clock on the back wall, counting down till the last bell rings. You lock the door with the plastic smile, say this is just our little secret thing. Ink stains on my test paper, your hand leaning where it shouldn't be. You twist the rules like a gold ring, say it's love, say it's meant to be. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief of home. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is the place you go. See ya, Chomo, see ya, Chomo. We need justice, not a whisper, sorry, go. Leave the kids alone, leave the kids alone. You hide behind a chalk halo, fake men are on a crooked throne. They call you ma'am, they call you sir, you use that power, strip us to the bone. Female face, male face, same crime, same cold eyes when the door clicks shut. Courtroom shrug, they were almost grown. Light little sentence, deep little cut. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief of home. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is the place you go. See ya, Chomo, see ya, Chomo. Need justice, not a whisper, sorry, go. Judge with a tired handshake, gavel falls like it's half awake. You get years, we can count on hands. We get scars, we can't understand. Names on a list, they move you towns. Paper walls, you still prowl around. Kids in rows like loaded guns. You pull the trigger, then you run. Leave the kids alone, you're not a savior, you're a thief of home. Predator in school clothes, life in a cage is a place you go. See ya, Chomo, see ya, Chomo. We need justice, not a whisper, sorry, go. Leave the kids alone, leave the kids alone, leave the kids alone.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
Two workers at Evanston Skokie District 65 are facing sex abuse charges. Carlos Mendez is the assistant principal at Washington Elementary. Maribel Flores Hernandez is a paraprofessional at the Joseph Hill Early Childhood Center. Both face charges of aggravated sexual abuse after prosecutors say they abused a 13-year-old girl in 2023 and continued for 2 more years. Officials say 3 other children say they were abused. None were students in the district. They are set to be in court later this month.
There's a dark cloud hanging over Ohio's largest indoor inflatable park. For years, kids have gone to Adventure Park in Sandusky to have a good time, but now, News 5's Kaylee Olivas tells us the park's owner faces accusations that are anything but fun and games.
Well, a children's recreational business owner here in Sandusky has been arrested and charged with a felony sex crime involving a minor. Parents here in this community are baffled, now reconsidering whether or not to continue bringing their children here to Adventure Play.
I couldn't really believe it.
Adventure Play, Ohio's largest indoor inflatable park, now under a microscope, as its owner, 42-year-old Robert Stein, arrested on Tuesday for a felony count of disseminating matter harmful to juveniles.
It was probably a little over a year ago when the 17-year-old actually worked at that facility. The two knew each other. Nothing inappropriate happened during that time. The two had become acquainted on Snapchat, basically were added as friends to each other, but no communication.
According to Perkins Police, the teen posted to her Snapchat story late January. That's when, allegedly, Stein started privately communicating with her.
And ultimately, that communication turned into sexual in nature.
Roughly within 2 days of these alleged conversations, Perkins Police says the teen told an acquaintance about the situation, who told a family member. The interaction then reported to police and investigated for 2 weeks before an arrest was made.
One of the images that was graphic in nature that the suspect had sent to her, she accidentally saved the image instead of deleting it. Ultimately, the suspect made an admission during that communication that he realized that he could get in trouble because of her age.
I do have to ask you, with the age of consent being 16 in the state of Ohio, I mean, does that not apply to situations that involve technology?
That ultimately means that a 16-year-old could have sex consensually with anyone as long as there's not a 4-year age gap difference higher.
The investigation is ongoing. A search warrant executed this week on Stein's home. Perkins Police collecting pictures, cell phones, a laptop, and more. The department says it's also waiting on records from Snapchat.
We expect once the investigation's done, there will be some significant other charges being probably gone to with the grand jury.
As this small community awaits further details, some moms are concerned with returning to Stein's business.
I think definitely we would have to wait and see how this kind of plays out.
For Kayla Lewis, her family has a membership to Adventure Play, typically visiting once a week, but she plans to cancel it immediately.
I would love to protect my kids as best as I can.
I've reached out to Adventure Play several times this week, Stein even showing up to the business on Thursday to hang up a temporary closure sign. Still no comment. Stein is out of jail on a $5,000 bond. We spoke with Perkins Township Police earlier, and they believe there are more minors who may have been involved with Stein. If you have any information pertaining to this case, the department asks that you phone it in. For News 5 here in Sandusky, I'm Kaylee Olivas.
This man is under arrest tonight, accused of downloading hundreds of files of child pornography. 48-year-old Michael Francis is being held in the Shelby County Jail. His arrest sheet says sexual exploitation of a minor, greater than 100 images. We reached out to Memphis Police for more information, but have not yet heard back. As soon as we learn more, we'll let you know.
Oh, wait just a minute. That's a mugshot.
Thank you for being here today with the announcement of another part of our crackdown on child sex offenders. South Australia has the toughest suite of laws anywhere in Australia and quite possibly the world against those people who prey on children. If you are a vile monster who offends against children, you've got nowhere to hide here in South Australia. Over the last 4 years, we've introduced a suite of laws. We now have indefinite detention for repeat child sex offenders. So if you go to a jail for a second time as a child sex offender, we will lock you up and throw away the key. You will have to prove that you are no longer a danger to the community before you can ever get out of jail. We've increased a whole lot of penalties for people who commit these sorts of crimes against children, and we now have in place in South Australia laws that prohibit serious child sex offenders from being in any workplace with children. As of Monday, a new website for SAPOL will go live, a child sex offender register. This will have 3 components. The first tier will allow anyone, any member of the public, to search and be able to view registrable child sex offenders who are breaching their reporting obligations. The next tier will allow people to make applications and then be able to view photos of any serious child sex offender who lives in their suburb. And the third tier will allow parents to make an application to SAPOL to see if someone who has unsupervised regular contact with their child has any serious child sex offender convictions. This is all about making South Australia safer for children and giving parents a peace of mind. As I've said, this is the latest component in a range of legislative changes we've made over the last 4 years to make sure that we have the toughest suite of laws anywhere in Australia and possibly the world against child sex offenders.
A Clinton County man charged with child pornography is in jail tonight waiting for his day in court. Pennsylvania State Police announced today they arrested 41-year-old Sebastian Bloom of South Renovo. Bloom faces more than 20 felony charges. He was taken into custody after troopers received a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children through Yahoo and Google. Bloom was denied bail and is due in Clinton County Court February 23rd.
We are going to start with a safety alert tonight because this Covington man right here is behind bars after being arrested on a number of different charges related to the sexual abuse of children under 12. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Trisha Mackey.
And I'm Rob Williams. Prosecutors believe there could be other victims, so look closely.
There's disturbing details here. We just wanted to give you a warning.
Yeah, Brooklyn Andrews joins us with what we know so far.
So the man you're seeing on your screen right now is 36-year-old Joshua Boykin, and police are urging you, if you believe he's had contact with your child or you recognize this man, to contact the Covington Police Department immediately. Boykin is currently facing a number of charges. We know there has been 5 victims identified, and unfortunately, police do believe there are more.
I know that there are additional children that need to be identified. How many, I'm not sure yet.
Kenton County Commonwealth's attorney Rob Sanders says Covington police responded to the home of Joshua Boykin on January 28th. This is after Mr. Boykin's wife called and said she discovered disturbing images and videos on her husband's cell phone.
Mr. Boykin was brought in for questioning about those images and videos. After that questioning by police, he was arrested.
Boykin is currently being held on a $250,000 bond and is facing 6 different felony charges.
Promoting a sexual performance by a minor, sodomy, sexual abuse, as well as other charges related to the child pornography.
Right now, 5 victims, some as young as 4 years old, have been identified. Investigators say they're now looking into where he was around children and when.
Some of his access to children came from babysitting children. I don't know if that's how all of his access or his only access to children was.
Anyone who thinks their child could be a victim of Mr. Boykin is asked to reach out to the Covington Police Department's Detective Bureau. The detectives assigned to this case can then collect the photos of those children and compare them to the victims and the images and videos recovered from Boykin's phone. Because of the large amount of evidence, Sanders says it could be weeks before this case is presented to the grand jury.
Given the fact that Mr. Boykin's looking at the rest of his life in prison, we are going to make sure that we have every I dotted and T crossed and that we are going into court with our guns fully loaded.
So because there is believed to be thousands and thousands of pages of evidence on Boykin's phone, Sanders tells me that there is probably going to be more charges when this gets presented to a grand jury, but part of that process is starting with identifying more victims that are in those images and videos. Reporting live in Kenton County with photojournalist Logan Thomas. Brooklyn Andrews, Fox 19 now.
Brooklyn, thank you.
We're going to head over to Maryland for this one. The Frederick County Sheriff's Office Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force has arrested a Frederick man following an investigation into the possession of child sexual abuse materials. The investigation began after the ICAC Task Force received a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children regarding suspected child sexual abuse material on an online platform. Might be kick, who knows, right? Through investigative efforts, detectives were able to link that account to Brevon Marcheria, a 19-year-old of Frederick. On February 12th, members of the Frederick County Sheriff's Office and the ICAC Task Force executed a search warrant at Marcheria's residence in the 6900 block of Clover Hill. And numerous electronic devices were seized as evidence for this investigation. Marcheria was arrested at the scene and transported to the Frederick County Adult Detention Center and he's being charged with 8 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material, and he's being held there, which is a good thing, with no bond. See ya, Chomo.
A Bettendorf man faces similar charges. David L. McDonald pleaded guilty this week to 2 counts of child endangerment. He was previously facing more serious charges, but his plea deal took the felony charge down to a misdemeanor. Court documents say he struck 14 and 12-year-olds with a duck magnet. He will learn his sentence on May 5th.
Okay, this story kind of really makes me mad here. If you look down at the bottom, it says Bettendorf man's sex charges dismissed. And they gave him some misdemeanors. I really do not understand this.
Today accused of possessing child pornography. The Beauregard Parish Sheriff's Office announced that the arrest of 21-year-old Jeremy Daniel Furtick, where investigators with the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force began their case last September. Tips led them to social media sites where they traced an IP address back to Furtick's home. Detectives executed a search warrant at his home yesterday, seizing evidence and taking Furtick into custody. He faces multiple charges, including 26 counts of possession of child pornography involving children under the age of 13. Furtick also faces drug charges.
Breaking news from 16 News Now.
And welcome to 16 News Now at 6:30. George Mallet reporting. We begin with breaking news tonight out of Elkhart. A middle school teacher there has been arrested, accused of sex crimes involving a 15-year-old boy. Police arrested 54-year-old Donald Schaefer yesterday morning. Court paperwork says the police found him doing, well, we've got details on what was happening with that teen. The allegations disturbing. Our John Kim has the story as parents share their shock and concern.
And I was racking my brain trying to come up with who it was, and I never would have thought it was him.
Donald Schaefer has been teaching social studies at Westside Middle School in Elkhart. He's now facing preliminary charges of sexual misconduct with a minor, child solicitation, and child exploitation. Angela Eager is a mother of a 9th grader at Westside. After her daughter heard the shocking news today, she decided to stay home.
She just needed some time to process everything.
Goshen police say it was around 3 in the morning yesterday when they found a 54-year-old Donald Schaefer inside a car with a teenage boy during their routine patrol here at Shanklin Park. According to a court paperwork, the 15-year-old victim and Schaefer met on a dating app called Grindr at around 1 a.m. yesterday. Schaefer and the victim exchanged nude photos and they met up at the Goshen Public Library. The 15-year-old told prosecutors that Schaefer was looking for a safe location to do sexual things, so they drove to Shanklin Park. In the back seats of Schaefer's car, he and the victim engaged in sexual acts. When police arrived at the park, Schaefer asked the victim to tell police they were both adults. Prosecutor says the victim was visibly shaking and afraid to say no. 16 News Now looked for his teaching career, and we found that he has been teaching social studies since 2022, according to the official school website and documents from Elkhart Community Schools. Records also show he worked as a head track coach in 2024 and 25 academic year.
I'm just glad that it didn't happen at school, in front of these children. I'm glad when it did happen, he was taken in right away.
The trial dates for Schaefer have not been set yet. We'll keep you posted as we learn more about this case. Reporting for 16 News Now from Goshen, I'm John Kim.
Thanks, John. Now, Schaefer's been placed on administrative leave as this investigation continues, and we'll keep you updated both here online and on air as well.
Well, the Sumner County District Attorney says that a former restaurant manager is facing up to 56 years in prison. A jury convicted a man named Landon Long of sexually exploiting a teenager who applied to work at his restaurant in Portland. Now, the district attorney's office says that Mr. Long pursued the victim starting back in 2023, even after her parents decided she could not work at the restaurant. We're told that he sent her explicit videos over social media. Long was convicted of multiple exploitations and even sexual assault and rape charges. He's got sentencing coming up on April the 17th.
And a former middle school track coach in Tipton County is facing child sex crime charges. The man allegedly told police he would use AI to create porn of a student.
Our Ashton Hackman explains the details of this investigation and the warning from detectives handling these types of cases.
Police arrested 26-year-old Elijah Bogart on Wednesday. He's now facing 2 charges of possessing child sex abuse material. The investigation started with a tip late last month. Dropbox flagged an account allegedly containing child porn. Investigators reported finding nearly a dozen files with victims as young as 6. Police traced the IP address on the account to Bogart's home in Elwood.
Bogart reportedly told police he was a track coach here at Tipton Middle School. District leaders tell me that they terminated Bogart on February 4th after police notified them of the investigation.
Bogart told police he's viewed child porn since he was younger. Court documents reveal he's also admitted to using an AI application to take a student's Instagram page and make her appear nude, allegedly telling police it wasn't high quality and appeared too fake for him. He said he deleted the pictures and police did not find them. Most child sex crime investigations are done by the Indiana Crimes Against Children Task Force. They start with a cyber tip. Last year alone, ICAC received nearly 30,000 of them, a big jump from less than 5,000 in 2019.
With each year, there has been an increase, and that's because of the change of technology, the explosion of social media accounts. It's just increased the workload for our detectives.
In a statement, Tipton Schools said, quote, "The safety and well-being of our students remain our highest priority. TCSC acted immediately upon notification and will continue to take all appropriate steps to protect students and support the investigative process," end quote. Bogart remains in the Madison County Jail on a $25,000 surety bond. In Tipton, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
A Fortson man is behind bars on multiple child sex crime charges following a joint investigation between the Muskogee and Harris County Sheriff's Offices. 58-year-old Charles Munfee Sr. was arrested Tuesday and charged with child molestation, incest, possession of child exploitation, and sexual battery. Officials say Munfee may face more charges.
We're going to head over to Osceola County, Florida, where the sheriff's office there reported a cyber tip came in from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children regarding suspected possession of child sexual abuse material. And detectives from the Internet Crimes Against Children's unit initiated an investigation and identified Mikhail Ferreris as the suspect. Investigators also found online chats in which Ferreris solicited child sexual abuse material from children as well as others. On February 12th, the ICAC detectives executed a search warrant at a residence in the Eagle Bay community in Kissimmee as part of this investigation. Based on the evidence there, Ferreris was charged with 4 counts of possession of photo/video of sexual performance by a child and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. He was arrested and booked into the Osceola County Jail without bond, and of course this investigation is still ongoing. So if we find out anything more about this chomo here, be sure to hear it here first on the Sex Offender Hitlist.
Gaston County High School students.
The 18-year-old faced a judge this afternoon charged with having child sex abuse material on his phone. Colton Ray, who authorities say is a student at Forest View High School in Gastonia, is accused of receiving 10 images of child sex abuse material. Prosecutors allege a search of his phone revealed up to 100 possible files with related content. Gastonia police arrested Ray yesterday. For parents across the region, it reinforces the dark side of the internet. Christy Carpenter has a 15-year-old.
It's very troubling to hear that anybody can get access to anything online without parents knowing, or that stuff being even online is troubling to begin with, but then knowing that someone as young as that is throwing their whole life away.
Well, just to reiterate, even though Ray is a high school student, he is 18 years old. A judge did not release him today, and Ray's next court date is in early March.
A Palestine man is in jail this morning accused of distributing child pornography. His bond set at $500,000. Palestine police arrested 27-year-old Juan Carlos Torres after executing a search and arrest warrants at a home on Crestline Drive. According to police, multiple online reports showed illegal materials being uploaded, downloaded, and shared from inside that home. Torres was taken into custody and booked into the Anderson County Jail on a charge of promotion of child pornography. Officials say more charges and arrests are expected.
Well, I knew he was shady looking, but that's kind of shady.
A 19-year-old man faces 3 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. The Horry County Sheriff's Office confirming the arrest of Reed Coley. This follows several tips about alleged criminal activity on the messaging platform Kik and Dropbox. The South Carolina Attorney General's office is prosecuting that case.
A lecturer at IU has been arrested and accused of child solicitation. 61-year-old James Self was arrested this morning. Police say it stems from an investigation out of Florida. Now, they say a sheriff's office was running a covert operation and posed as a 14-year-old boy. Police say Self requested nude photos and sent the officer nude photos of himself. IU says after learning of Self's arrest, he is banned from IU property.
A Vernon Parish man is arrested on child pornography charges. 43-year-old William Robert Sims was taken into custody this morning at his residence. The arrest follows an extensive cyber investigation where Sims was identified through information from the Louisiana Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force. He is accused of utilizing a popular internet messaging site to obtain and download child sexual abuse material. Sims has been booked on 3 counts of possession of child pornography. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing and additional charges are expected.
All right, we're going to head over to Texas for this guy. He's a wanted fugitive and in the top 10 list over there in Texas. The U.S. Marshals, well, they caught up with him. They arrested Bruce Edward Cassan, 33-year-old, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday at a Motel 6 at I-40 and Fulton Street. He was wanted in Staunton, Virginia on 18 counts of possession of child sexual abuse material. And yeah, I'm gonna say it, 1 count of bestiality. Sick chomo. It's unclear why Cassan was in Amarillo where he was arrested, but his job listed as a driver, so it kind of makes sense. Animals.
Do you really know where the sex offenders in your neighborhood live?
Tonight, KETV investigates a potential loophole in the registry when it comes to transient offenders.
KETV Newswatch 7's Maddie Augustine's talking with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office as they launch a new website to tackle the issue, but the sheriff says it's not a fix.
Sheriff's Office, come out of tent.
It's a job the Douglas County Sheriff's Office Community Action Team routinely completes.
We've had many cases in which our community action team has come across known sex offenders living in tent encampments.
We get tips on where people are, where they say they're staying somewhere and then they're actually staying somewhere else. So just go in, check on them, compliance checks.
We have like a whole apartment in here.
Those checks are part of the Sheriff's Office's duty to enforce the Nebraska Sex Offender Registry in the county. Per state law, there are different tiers to the registry that dictate how frequently a registered offender must check in. 15-year offenders report once a year. 25-year offenders report every 6 months. And lifetime offenders report every 3 months. But DCSO investigator Deputy Doyle Spagnola says those guidelines are different if you are registered as transient, no matter the tier.
You're telling the state, any law enforcement, you're telling us you don't have anywhere you're staying. You're staying at a bus stop, you're staying at a campground.
This one was occupied last time.
What it does is it requires you to come in every 30 calendar days.
And while registered offenders are required to tell the Sheriff's Office their home address, Spagnola says those who register as transient don't have to give a specific location.
Technically, if they're staying anywhere that isn't like a home, they're transient and they're not breaking any law at that point in time.
Without an address, Spagnola says it's difficult for their team to do compliance checks.
We try to narrow it down. Some people are forthcoming with that information and other people push back on it.
Because they've listed themselves as transient and they can pick up their whole tent and move the next day, there's very limited enforcement options that we have available.
Spagnola and Sheriff Aaron Hansen say it's something they're concerned about.
I think that they're taking advantage of a loophole in state law, and I think it's worth looking at the current state law to see if we can tighten up that loophole.
DCSO says it becomes an even larger issue if the offender is absconded, meaning they've missed their check-in date. As of January 2026, the Sheriff's Office says there were 1,604 registered sex offenders in Douglas County. 77 of them are registered as transient, and 23 of those were absconded.
We're serious about protecting innocent, vulnerable people in our community from these sex offenders who have a concerningly high recidivism rate.
Hansen says they want the community informed about what's happening and who is potentially living near them. So they launched this website page, allowing the public to see the list of transient offenders and submit tips if they know anything.
We want concerned citizens to look at it, know who the transient sex offenders are in our community.
The website is not a permanent solution. Hansen says legal change needs to happen.
You mentioned that you do believe state law needs to be tightened up a bit. What do you think is the proper tightening up that needs to be done?
State law should be tightened up where they have to report to us exactly where they're staying, even if it is in a tent behind an elementary school or in a car dealership.
Currently, there are no bills introduced in the legislature to address the sheriff's office's concern. Maddie Augustine, KETV, Newswatch 7.
A man is facing multiple charges for possessing child sexual abuse materials. Huntsville police say Brett Arias was identified as a person of interest following an investigation into a tip. After searching his home, police say he was detained for an interview. He was arrested and charged with 10 counts of possession with intent to disseminate child pornography.
Tracking crime in Marshall County, the TBI is searching for more victims in a child crime investigation. On Tuesday, agents arrested Jamal Ewing. He's accused of talking with an underage girl through the game Age of Apes. He was booked into jail on a $6,000 bond. Anyone who may have been contacted by him or someone using the name Black Jiren online should contact the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
All right, first of all, anybody that wants to play Age of Apes to contact a minor, got to be something wrong with them. I mean, look at this baboon.
New at 10, a man faces 15 to 30 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to sexual exploitation of a child. 34-year-old Vincent Gilliam pleaded guilty to using a hidden camera to take videos of a minor. Gilliam has previously been on trial for child sexual exploitation. Officials in the trial say Gilliam coerced a minor and took video during the act. He has now taken a plea agreement and sentencing is set for June 24th.
More crime news. A Mount Pleasant man thought he was talking to a teenage girl in Scott County, but it was actually an undercover police officer. Adam Christopher Davis was sentenced on February 6th after pleading guilty in November to enticing and grooming a minor under the age of 16. Court documents show the judge gave Davis 5 years on each count and is set to serve them concurrently.
Marion County man will serve 20 life sentences for nearly 24 child porn possession charges. Court records show 45-year-old Michael McMasters was sentenced on Wednesday after a jury found him guilty in December. Sheriff's deputies arrested him in early 2024 after finding the uploaded inappropriate material. Again, at 20.
All right, over to California. Got a 22-year-old Porterville man. He was arrested after the detectives there said a 3-month-long investigation had taken place. And they found that he possessed and distributed child sexual abuse materials. Detectives from the Tulare County Sheriff's Office Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force arrested Dustin Ramsey. It's Dusty to me, don't he? That happened on Wednesday here, 2 days ago. Investigators said the case began with an initial tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and led to a 3-month investigation by the ICAC team. Ramsey was taken into custody while detectives executed a search warrant at his home in the 600 block of West Westfield, you would think, right? Avenue in Porterville. He was booked into the South County Detention Facility. Oh boy, another chomo.
His face is right there, on the front of the folder that tells the story of their daughter's time at nursery.
He wrote a large chunk of what's inside this, and we wanted to share it because it demonstrates how much is tainted by what he's done, how we remember her time at nursery. He was responsible for every element of her care when she was there, settling her to sleep during nap time, her intimate care, going to the toilet, comforting her when she was upset. As a parent, knowing those moments of vulnerability were looked over by a predator, I feel the innocence of her childhood is stolen.
Chan had over 1 million images on his devices. many showing him abusing young children in a primary school and then the Bright Horizons nursery on Finchley Road in North London. Among them, this couple's daughter.
On his devices, they found a whole load of images of our daughter, which were described to us as being very disturbing in nature. As a result, they considered her to be extremely high risk of also having been sexually abused.
He'd worked at the nursery for 7 years. Before that, he was secretly filming young students and adult colleagues at a primary school.
I, Vincent Chan, 281080, hereby confirm that I'm guilty of all the things complained of in the disclosure document. How do you feel about the videos I've told you so far? No comment. Do you recall those videos? No comment.
He was sentenced to 18 years.
Every right-thinking person hearing about your offences would feel revulsion and disbelief. Your conduct was utterly wicked, perverse and depraved. You became a sexual predator and someone who had clearly lost all sense of moral compass.
1,200 families in North London have been told their children might have been exposed to this serial offender.
Whilst we've been able to speak to a number of families and provide them with clarity of what happened, tragic and absolutely disgusting behaviour by Chan, I still walk away with the unknown and being unable to actually speak to all families and provide them the clarity that their child was not subject to harm during Vincent Chan's care. All of those families that have had children go through that nursery setting or go through the primary school will be asking themselves the question, was my child a victim?
Do you have any feelings towards what he has done?
Obviously, we're totally sickened by his actions, and it's a real sense of despair that she was exposed to that. For us making a decision that millions of parents make every day to leave their children in the care of these professional organisations who have on the surface checks and balances and regulations to comply with. But this individual was so easily able to manipulate that system.
I feel absolutely let down by the hiring process and the fact that an existing offender was hired with rooms full of pre-verbal children who are literally sitting ducks behind closed doors with a sexual predator. I consider Bright Horizons responsible alongside Vincent Chan.
What would you like to see happen?
I would like to see a prosecution brought by the local authority.
Bright Horizons said their thoughts are with the families involved. Keeping children safe is our most important responsibility, they said. Vincent Chan broke that trust. His actions were depraved and devious and go against the kindness and care our dedicated professionals provide to children each day. The nursery chain said it's improved safeguarding, whistleblowing procedures and staff training. Parents say this must lead to systemic change in nurseries across the country.
Kevin, thank you. Tonight, Ohio State University confirms a student assistant is suspended and not allowed on campus because of criminal charges related to sexual conduct with a 13-year-old girl. 21-year-old Anthony Bokar is charged in Athens County with unlawful sexual contact with a minor, tampering with evidence, and corrupting another with drugs. Court documents say Bokar met a 13-year-old girl in Athens County last November and had sex with her. Ohio State University says he is placed on interim suspension and not allowed on campus. In a statement, an Ohio State University spokesperson said, quote, "These allegations are extremely concerning. Nothing is more important than the safety of our campus community, and we will assist law enforcement in any way needed."
Tonight, a 53-year-old Oshkosh man is in custody following an investigation into child sexual abuse material. Police executed a search warrant in the 1100 block of Moreland Street in the city of Oshkosh yesterday after receiving a tip about media depicting child pornography. Investigators reviewed the content of a laptop at the residence and located 3 separate videos. In an interview, the suspect acknowledged there was likely more than 1,000 images and videos of child porn on that laptop. Several departments are now working together to further examine the device. The man was later brought to the Winnebago County Jail on 3 counts of possession of child pornography. His identity has not yet been released.
Law enforcement arrested a 49-year-old man after they say he raped multiple children for several years. Thomas Stokes is arrested on multiple felonies, including rape and introducing a controlled substance into the body of another person. Police began investigating Stokes on January 3rd. Victims reported to investigators that Stokes also pressured them into using methamphetamine. They also claimed Stokes used a certain chapter in the Bible, claiming it made it okay for him to have sex with them. Stokes has a $1.5 million bond and a no-contact order with any of the victims involved in the case.
22-year-old Nathan Hilton faces several charges accused of sexually assaulting a juvenile. Rockford investigators looked into the case in November 2024 and named Hilton the suspect. Police say Hilton knew the juvenile. He was taken into custody Thursday.
Of the week, we always feature 3 a week. We're going to get to the case of Lonnie Dickerson. And Detective, we've had this conversation before. This is when our viewers, this is when the people of Northeast Ohio really get involved when we see a crime committed against a child, and in this case, a very young child. Let's get to the case of Lonnie Dickerson. What do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know is that in April of 2017, it's alleged that Lonnie Dickerson attempted to rape the victim, who was under the age of 10. And unfortunately, we see this where the community wants to get involved, wants to help catch these individuals because they feel so passionately about protecting our children. Court documents indicate that he physically restrained the victim during the assault. He actually has a criminal history with the Sheriff's Department dating back to 1997, to include a guilty plea to sexual battery in 2005. Because of this conviction, he's actually required to register as a sex offender with the Sheriff's Department. He's approximately 5'10" and 192 pounds. He has a tattoo on his back of a cross, and we do not have a last known location for him, which makes it even more important that we locate him.
Always interesting when our fugitives have religious tattoos and accused of some of the most disgusting crimes, like an attempted rape against a 10-year-old.
Clarence man could be going away for at least a decade for allegedly trying to solicit a preteen for sex. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, last year, 33-year-old Daniel Gregory sent Facebook messages asking people if they knew any young teens he could, quote, hook up with in the North Tonawanda area. We're told Gregory then began sending explicit messages to an undercover officer who he believed was a 12-year-old girl. Authorities say last week he traveled to Tonawanda to meet that girl, where he was then taken into custody. He's now charged with attempted enticement of a minor, and if convicted, he faces 10 years to life in prison.
Well, you wouldn't know it by looking at him. This guy's a high school football coach, a varsity football coach. And he's been arrested, of course, on allegations of sexual abuse of a child. Court documents say 19-year-old Ty Lewis was arrested last week after a minor contacted authorities with text message of a sexual nature. The minor also alleged that Lewis here sent them a pornographic video during the 2025 football season. Lewis was released from the Nez Perce County Jail on Wednesday after posting a $50,000 bond. $5,000 after a bondsman, right? He's due back in court on the 25th of this month. See ya, football head chomo.
July 2024, a woman tells police she was at the BP gas station near 5 Points in Norfolk when a man approaches her and starts talking, then offers her a ride to Park Place. A search warrant states they crossed Chesapeake Boulevard towards a bus stop. That's when he's accused of putting her in a chokehold and dragging her behind a fenced area. It states she passed out and woke up being raped. DNA is sent to the lab. In January 2025, registered sex offender Christopher Cudis is identified in a police lineup. Months go by. In June of 2025, another rape reported. This time, a similar situation. It's raining. A man offers a female a ride home. Records state she's near Ruffin and Rugby Street, walking away from school. She gets in the car, then suddenly felt the cold point of a knife on her left temple. It states that he told her he'd kill her if she screamed, then raped her and let her go after she begged to be released. More DNA testing came back and police arrested Cudis this past September. Crime analyst Richard James says allegations in these two cases show a similar pattern.
And then once he gets him into the vehicle, that's when the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde change. He has this explosive behavior and then he starts the assault.
Court records show that Cudis was sentenced to 36 years for forcible sodomy in 1998, which is what put him on the sex offender registry. The Department of Corrections tells us he was released in July of 2021. One man who lives near where one of the alleged assaults happened is horrified and angered.
It's mind-blowing, you know? It's just like, because I have nieces, I'm just sorry to hear that. I'm just glad y'all caught the person, and I mean, he's innocent and proven guilty, so that's all I can say is like, man, wow.
He says it's concerning, especially with so many kids in the area.
You got Northview Middle, Northview Elementary, Northview High School. It's just like pre-K, all this right here is like, wow.
James says to be aware of your surroundings, trust your gut, and scream for help if you're attacked.
To give you more of an opportunity to get away. And it's very, very important that if you can take, for women, if you can take a self-defense class, do it. The impact of a rape is something that would affect a person for a long, long time.
Cudis declined an interview with us from jail and has court February 27th. In Norfolk, Margaret Kavanaugh, News 3.
A St. James Parish deputy is facing charges related to child sexual exploitation. According to the State Attorney General's office, 23-year-old Tykeem Semino was arrested Wednesday. He's charged with indecent behavior with a juvenile and computer-aided solicitation of a juvenile. He's also charged with malfeasance and obstruction of justice. Now, the Attorney General's office alleges Semino was soliciting juveniles for explicit images and videos in exchange for money. Investigators believe there may be victims not only in Louisiana, but in other states as well. Semino was fired after his arrest.
Tyler Thomas was in his jail suit with his hands and feet handcuffed as he listened to the charges in federal court: sexual exploitation of a minor and travel in interstate commerce with intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct. Those charges after police found evidence they say makes the 39-year-old the prime suspect in Haley Busby's disappearance.
We're going to defend it vigorously. We're going to deal with the charges straight up, and we'll deal with professional and capable prosecutors, whether it's in state court or federal.
Thomas allegedly told police he met Haley while playing online video games like Roblox and League of Legends. Investigators asked Thomas if he had murdered Haley. He allegedly said, quote, "I think she is alive and safe."
This morning, state lawmakers voted unanimously to move this bill forward. The amendment on this bill adds that a missing child can be considered a high-risk missing person. Lawmakers say this could help find kids in danger more quickly.
Breaking news, Fort Myers police arrest a man for child porn. 25-year-old Jacob Cups is behind bars on multiple felony charges. This was all triggered by a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Now, investigators traced the distribution of child sexual abuse material back to Cups' account.
James Anderson Roy has been arrested in Randolph County after nearly 2 months of being on the run. Officials say Roy has been on the run since December 17th of last year, when the Upshur County Circuit Court issued a warrant for his arrest. He faces multiple felony charges, including failure to register as a sex offender, grand larceny, and conspiracy. Officials say they were able to determine Roy's general location using multiple technology platforms. Upshur County Sheriff Mike Kaufman then located a vehicle matching the description of Roy's vehicle near Helvetia, West Virginia. Roy was taken into custody without incident. Officials say the investigation is ongoing and additional charges are pending.
U.S. Marshals arrested a Walton County man accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a minor here in north central Florida. Deputies say 36-year-old Joshua Branham had an active warrant for committing the crimes in Alachua County. He was arrested in Walton County yesterday morning and brought to Alachua County today. Court records show a sworn complaint was filed against Branham in late January.
We're going to head over to Union Parish, Arkansas, where the parish sheriff's office has arrested an Arkansas woman on multiple felony charges following an investigation into the sexual and physical abuse of a juvenile in Union Parish. November of last year, the UPSO received a complaint alleging sexual abuse and physical abuse as well, involving a minor child. And investigators immediately of course, they started an investigation because they're investigators. The investigation revealed the juvenile was subjected to sexual acts and physical abuse, resulting in both physical injury and emotional trauma. Based on these findings, an arrest warrant was obtained through the 3rd Judicial District Court for the suspect, this Chomet right here, Jessica Mondragon Perez Vargas, a 30-year-old of Portland, Arizona. After the warrant was issued, investigators were able to discover Vargas was located in Arkansas, and investigators traveled to Chillicothe County and Ashley County, Arkansas, where both county sheriff's offices aided those investigators in tracking down this Chomet. She was taken into custody without incident, waived extradition, and was extradited back to Union Parish. Vargas was booked into the Union Parish Detention Center and is facing charges of first-degree rape, oral sexual battery, second-degree cruelty to a juvenile, and aggravated crimes against nature. Her bond was set at $1.7 million. Now, we won't be seeing you anytime soon there, Chomet.
In Heber, where the chair of the Republican Party in Wasatch County is behind bars on disturbing allegations of child abuse involving water torture.
So, according to police, David Johnson used water to abuse several relatives who are children.
News specialist Dan Rascone is covering the story and has the latest for us this morning.
According to police, the victim used the term waterboarding, which is usually when somebody puts a cloth over somebody's mouth and then pours water on top. Police say in this case, a sink was filled with water and the victim's head was put under the water for a period of time.
All child abuse cases are disturbing.
It's here in the small town of Heber that police have encountered a disturbing child abuse case, one they say involved David Johnson, the Republican chair for Wasatch County.
The girl had made a complaint that she was being... What happened here?
Parker Sever is a police chief for Heber City.
In this one, it appears that they were filling like sink with water, holding the head underwater, and then pulling the head out of the water.
Chief says the underwater abuse would happen for about 20 to 30 seconds, and it also involved physical abuse and more than one juvenile. Johnson was arrested at about 5 o'clock Tuesday night after police say he turned himself in at the police station.
But that's one thing we strive to do, is to make sure that we're treating everybody the same, whether you have a position or whether you don't have a position.
I did speak with the vice chair of the Republican Party there in Wasatch County. She says in her mind she has only observed a healthy relationship between Johnson and his family, and she urges everyone out there not to jump to any conclusions that people are innocent until proven guilty. I'm Dan Rascone for KSL 5 News.
After about an hour of deliberation, a jury convicts a Wichita man on rape and child sex abuse charges. Yolder Valencia Diaz was found guilty of rape, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, and interference with law enforcement. The charges stem from a 2024 investigation. Diaz is scheduled to be sentenced March 27th.
A woman is behind bars in Calcasieu Parish facing charges of indecent behavior with juveniles. Good afternoon. I'm Rob Okaj. The Sheriff's Office Special Victims Unit detectives began investigating a report on February 6th where they discovered 39-year-old Erin Guidry of Iowa. She was sending text messages to a victim under 16 years old, and investigators say some of those messages were sexual in nature. Detectives obtained an arrest warrant this past Wednesday, and Guidry was arrested the following day and booked into the Calcasieu Correctional Center. Her bond has been set at $150,000.
Broken clock on the back wall, counting down till the last bell rings. You lock the door with the plastic smile, say this is just our little secret thing. Ink stains on my test paper, your hand leaning where it shouldn't be. You twist the rules like a gold ring, say it's love, say it's meant to be. Leave the kids alone. Chalk halo, fake men are on a crooked